Well,
All
hey,
right.
we got a fantastic show for you guys. For you, all you winters out there, this is representative of the winter palette. It's
Mhm.
also representative of winter hair. Now, since we have so many winters out there, you know your season. You know that you have deeper hair color. You know that you have no red or gold highlights. But
Mhm.
what you may not know is that your palette all put together looks a little bit like this. And what I did was create these palettes mathematically, um, which I've never done before, but it kind of it works like a charm. It's like, wow. Um,
Mhm.
your colors are dual tone, and this is kind of representative of your color wheel. What you'll see in your color wheel, of course, you'll add some metallics like silver or silver tone, white gold.
Mhm.
But the bottom line is, you look best in these bold shades. And you are also the envy of Sarah, who in her secret dreams uh, has a desire to be a Olympic.
Mhm. Well, winters you also get black, you get white, so you get a ton of colors that manufacturers happen to make those colors with. So it's harder to find those warmer tones than it is cooler tones. Manufacturers just love to create items in winter colors. I don't know why, they just do
I
it.
don't know that they spend their time thinking about it, but,
Mhm.
but primary colors are easy to find. A lot
Mhm.
of manufacturers do them. Um, so yeah, I get that. But basically, what the winter looks like this. Now, when you have warm highlights in your hair's still deep. Sarah, can you pop up an autumn so that they're next to each other?
Yep.
So what you see here is hair, the deep spectrum, with red and gold highlights. So, and again, I calculated this palette mathematically, which is why it looks so regimented, or why it's so perfect. But the bottom line is, if you add the red or gold highlights, or the red and gold at a certain percentage, the winter palette starts to look like the autumn palette. So you can see with it next to representative hair color, yeah, I get it. You know, I may have friends who have this dark red hair. If I'm buying a sweater for them, I buy out of the palette on the right. I may have friends who have black hair or salt and pepper gray hair, and they're going to look best in the palette on the left. So I think it's really cool to look at these sitting up next to each other and know that this is an algorithm that created these palettes, a
Mhm.
mathematical formula. And I'm also very pleased to say that when you shop with us and get the color wheel, or you download our color palettes, this is what you will see.
Mhm. And I absolutely love the way this looks because you really get a visualization for the difference between the winter on the left and the autumn on the right. And you can see how on the left you have that blue versus on the right you have yellow put into all the different colors. And this is when you first start to see the difference between each season. You start to visualize and actually look side by side and what the color palettes do and how they change. And this is such a great demonstration to do if you're interested in learning about color analysis and how to color analyze people.
And if people come to you and say, well, you know, I don't necessarily go with that color analysis stuff, I think it's a hoax. It's not a hoax. You can see it right in front of your face. It is color science. And
Mm-hmm.
part of that color science is that once you're in your right colors, everything blends together. Like, look how beautiful these palettes are on the right side, and how beautiful the palettes are on the left side. But if you mix them all together, they would look like kind of a busy mess, right?
Yeah. And another thing that makes color theory so important is picking out your clothes. They all work together because you're all using from the same palette. So, you can pick a warm rust that goes with a mustard that goes with a warm green, but what's not going to go together is this hot pink over on the left-hand side and a rust on the right. Those colors just don't work together. But
Right.
all the colors Right. All the colors on the left side work together. They have that harmony that you're looking for when you're putting together an outfit. So you never have to worry about if things are going to look good together, if colors are going to be in harmony or not. Because if you're shopping within your season, you have color harmony.
Absolutely. And it's not like, we say that unless you're a winter, you need to kind of not wear black. And, if you have a little black dress, as long as it's low cut and you have the light that's reflecting off of you as your own skin tone and not the black, yeah, you can wear it. But you can see here, why jump outside your season when you have such beautiful results in your season? Now, certainly every color that's in your color fan or your online color palette is not represented here. There are some neutrals, of course, that each season gets. And we'll talk a little bit about how every color has seasonality to it. It's just a matter of whether the shade is warmer or cooler and whether the shade is more saturated or less saturated. But we're not quite ready to go there yet. I think where we could go is looking at the lighter hair beauties who would be in our spring and summer palette.
Absolutely. Now, I wanted to grab, because we have so many winters out here, I wanted to compare the winter and the summer very quickly, just a quick little glimpse. And then we'll grab our other lighter season, which happens to be spring. But right now on the left, you're looking at winter, and on the right, you're looking at summer. And this earlier when we were saying cools were taking over, this is what we mean. Very cool, no warmth, no yellow, no orange in this. They're very cool, and they have blue undertones.
And it's something that I wanted to address. One of our ladies in our comments said that she used to be a winter, but she thinks she may be summer now. What I have found, if you look at the bottom of the winter hair colors, what you can have and still be a winter, there's salt and pepper, which is strands of pure black and strands of pure white mixed together. So you have salt and pepper, and also pure white. So before you decide that you're a summer now, I want you to really pay attention to your hair color and know, is it pure white, which means you're still a winter, or is it one of these soft gray or ash brown colors, which means you're a summer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get that question a lot, and it's very difficult to decide with gray. So if you're in need, just let us know, and you can message us.
And I have my own trick because I am a summer. I'm actually a reformed autumn turned summer. And what I do is, if people describe my hair, if I were running away from the scene of a crime and they describe my hair as grayish, that's a little bit different than if they describe my hair as white or salt and pepper. And my hair is, in fact, grayish. It's what you see here when you at the top of the summer palette, but also ash blonde and ash brown. They're beautiful examples of summer if the brown is white. And so what Sarah's put up here is, when you're looking at someone and the first question you ask to get somebody in the season and get a sense of what their color is, are there red or gold highlights? If there are red or gold highlights, you go to the next question, which is the hair light or is it deep? And that will get you into one of 4 quadrants. But here we're looking at cool hair versus warm hair. And the hair is light in both cases, but look what happens to the palette when you've got color in the hair versus no red or gold highlights.
Mm-hmm. And a kind of a little fun fact, I would say springs are the most underrepresented season out there. Just in my opinion, I think we don't get a ton of springs out there. So if you are a spring, you're very lucky, and there's not a lot out there.
We do sell a lot of spring swatch fans, and we sell a lot of the spring palettes, the online palettes. So I know you springs are out there. You're certainly, by far, winter is our most represented season by far.
Mm-hmm. That's just a little fun fact to throw out there.
Well, everybody's always looking for their tribe, and since the winter is the most represented season, as evidenced by our viewers and also just by their purchases in the world, you can see. But here, I'm blown away by the difference in the summer palette versus the spring palette. And it's so obvious here. I mean, if I were imagining a woman with this spring hair color on the right, I see her in the colors on the right. I see her in this. It almost, I don't know if I'm too old for you guys to be able to relate to this, but there used to be something called fruit stripe gum. And it, you know, you could get the lime and the cherry and the orange, and this almost reminds me of that. Okay, shush, Sarah.
It's the zebra gum. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Each, but you can either think, you can think about it like Starburst too.
Yeah.
It's fruity. It's a fruity palette. And I love to have visual clues in my own mind when I'm looking at something and I'm considering, oh, do I want to do this, etc. And then I always kind of think, well, is it fruity? Because springs are fruity, you know, it's kind of a fruity season. Or is it dusty? Because summers are a dustier season. Powdery in nature. Is it bold? Like a winter? Is it like a jewel tone? Or is it a autumn landscape, like the autumns? In fact, maybe we should show all seasons together.
I was just about to grab that. So here we have the winter. Here we have the autumn. So our two cools are on the left and our two warms are on the right. And then it goes light to deep. So we have summer, top left, spring, top right, winter, bottom left, autumn, bottom right. And here we can get that complete visual.
And just here are some little fun facts. You can, if you are kind of staring at this and really internalizing the look of it, you can see that the autumn palette is more soft than the spring palette. Whereas color is there, but it's almost like somebody just softened it up a little by adding its complementary color. If I were, well, I did. If I were creating this palette, I used an algorithm to add a little bit of the complementary color in every color to make it more subdued. And then if you look at over on the winter versus summer, that you just add a hint of gray. And I'm always blown away by, it's almost like you add a hint of the hair color. And that's what you end up with.
And this is such, I go back to how we train personally for color analysis. And this is really where people finally get to visualize, is when you have all 4 seasons, you're seeing the hair colors, you're seeing the colors that go with each different season. This is where you really start to visualize and understand color theory. So this right here is very important, and we'll make sure to put these slides down in the comments so you can take a look, visualize, see, and really get the idea of each 4 of our seasons that we have.
And it might be fun, because I love finding out in your comments what your season is. It might be fun for all of you who told us what your season is. Do you still think you're the same season after seeing this and seeing these palettes and looking at what your own personal preferences are? Are you still a winter? Are you still a summer? Are you still an autumn? Are you still a spring?
And one last thing I want to mention that I just want to make sure, if these are not the full palettes. So
no,
right, if you're a winter out there, you still have a ton of other colors that you can wear. Autumn's out there, there's purples you can wear. There's so many other colors that you can wear. This is not a full representation of the palette. This is just taking a look at each color and seeing how you can manipulate it to make it your season.
And that's what the show is about. It's basically to tell you that if you want to wear red, you can wear red. If you want to wear blue, there's a blue for you. And also in the color fans, once you'll see these colors, but you'll also see neutral. What's your best neutral? What's your best taupe versus a stone versus a khaki? Everybody has a neutral beige that fits into their season. Everybody has a neutral blue, something that would be represented by a navy blue blazer, but it's adjusted for your season. And so what we did was we took certain colors and we seasonalized them. And we made slides for you guys so that you can see if you wanted to wear a red, what would your red look like? So that might be the next slide that we should take a look at.
Yeah, I can absolutely grab those. Since we were talking about reds, I'm going to go ahead and grab our next red slide. Of course, I just have to get rid of all of these other ones.
Bye, Summer.
Here we go. Back to coordinates.
So suppose you said to me, well, I don't want to be my season because I love the color red and I want to be able to wear red. I would say to you, you are a season, and there is a red for you that will make you look younger, that will make your skin look more healthy, that will make your eyes look brighter, that will make your teeth look whiter. You just have to be in the right season. And so what we're showing here, the 4 quadrants, are spring, upper left.
Yeah, top left.
Autumn, bottom left. Summer, top right. And winter, bottom right. Now, winters have a lot more red options there, but we showed you in the palette that you have lots of options. What we're showing you here is there is a colorway that is complementary to every season, and this is what it is.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to, one last time, at the top, you're looking at our lighter seasons, which are spring, which is warm, and summer, which is cool. And then at the bottom, your autumn on the left, which is warm, and winter on the bottom right, which is cool. So just to get a second look at that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, is there another color you might be interested in, Sarah, to see how it's seasonalized?
Absolutely, because I was talking about purple. I want to make sure that every season you know that you have a purple. It wasn't given on our last diagram, but there is a purple for every season. There we go. And once again, you got your spring top left. You have your summer top right. This is so hard to do. You have your bottom left and your winter bottom right.
Now, for some reason, the slide is not showing as vibrant as the autumn purple should show up. I don't know if it has something to do with my monitor or yours, but certainly this muted purple is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous on autumns. But you have some more vibrant purples in your palette that you can, when you look at your color wheel or your downloadable palette, that you can enjoy. But what I want you to see here is springs are warmer. The purple is warmer. Winters or summers, the purple is cooler. I know. I'm doing the same thing. It's like,
honestly, this is very hard to do each of the seasons and get them right in the right quadrant. I don't know why, because in my head, I'm speaking it, but it's just not coming out right whenever I do it, and I'm stuttering.
Exactly. And then as you go to the autumn, the idea is it's a little bit warmer than the winter, but it's also softer. The color saturation is not as great. And then the winter is amethyst because you guys get a jewel tone. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at it through the filters that I like to use, springs are more like flowers or fruits, summers are a little bit dustier, a little more powdery. Autumns are more like the autumn landscape. And winters are bold and primary. And obviously purple is a secondary color, but by primary, I mean as bold and non-diluted with any other color as possible.
Mm-hmm. And then let's just do one more look at another color to make sure everyone knows that you can wear any color you want. It's just about that variation of color.
You pick the color.
All right. So I'm going to do teal.
Ooh, my favorite.
Yeah, I think teal is such a good color. Everyone loves it, and it just makes you happy. And
yeah, and teal for the summer is like my wardrobe staple. I have tons of teal t-shirts and white t-shirts, but teal, I love it. And really, you can't go wrong with teal. I mean, it has a lot of forgiveness as far as your season. But if you wanted to think in terms of perfection, what makes your perfect teal? What you'll see in your color palette. What you'll see is a bolder, brighter color for spring, a cooler teal, slightly cooler and more powdery. For autumn, you still have to run it through the filter of what you might see in the autumn landscape. And then for winter, Chinese blue is a clearer, purer teal that fits over on the cool side. So I hope that if we look at these colors being seasonalized, and maybe we can look at a couple of them side by side or even, I don't know, 3 up, you'll see what is it that makes any color in any palette, anywhere, your color. And this is what does it. These are the filters visually that you can run them through to know, if you're out shopping and you have for some reason left your cell phone at home and your downloadable color palette, you don't have it handy. This is the way you can tell if one is right versus another.
Yeah, and just because you mentioned showing one side by side, let me grab the red back for us so you can take a look. And remember, top left is spring, top right is summer, bottom left autumn, and then bottom right is winter. So you can see how each variation works depending on the season.
Okay, now, Sarah, do you have any comments since you're a warm season and you're going to be wearing something from the warm palette?
Other than I love the colors.
Well, I thought you would mention that the red in your autumn quadrant is your favorite color on earth.
Oh yeah, I do love a good rusty red. And honestly, I'll have to say that it wasn't my favorite. It wouldn't be the color that I would immediately lean toward. But once you start wearing colors in your season, they become your favorite colors. And it's just something that you just gravitate towards. And there is a good, when you talk to people, they tend to say their favorite colors are colors in their season, just because you kind of internalize what looks good on you. So people do understand a little bit that there are certain colors that looks good on them and they tend to gravitate towards them. So one of the questions in like the original Carol Jackson book was, what colors do you like? What colors make you feel good? And people tended to gravitate towards the colors in their season. So it's a really good way. If you're on the fence, take a look at some different colors and actually visualize and see which one you think looks better on yourself.
Well, it's not just what you think looks better. My study, I did kind of a 5-year-long study on why people choose the colors they choose. And I was always, but as you know, I was always bugging people saying, well, why do you wear this? Why do you like this? Why do you wear this? And inevitably, where I ended up for the vast majority of people, whether they knew it or not, was they picked the colors that they get the most compliments in.
Yeah.
and also that you've had really good experiences in. So let's say that, you were wearing a red dress when your husband came up to you at a party and said, how beautiful you look. And then he later became your husband. Red will be a favorite choice of yours moving forward. So I think that so much of our own personal color preferences has to do with where you've gotten the most compliments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I think you will find it true for a lot of different occasions.
And Holly just made a comment, and her comments are always so spot on, because if we can bring up her autumn palette real quick. When we first met Holly, she wasn't really sure of her season, and we've worked with Holly over time, and she wasn't much of a makeup wearer. Now she's a diva, and she's getting tons of compliments. She just had a baby. But she just made a comment that says that she loves seeing all of the mustards and the goldenrods in her season, and they've become favorites of hers.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not an autumn, if you're a winter, if you're spring, these are not your colors. I mean, they're just not. Mustard looks good on one season and one season only. And I take that back. Autumns can wear mustard, and springs can sometimes wear mustards, but you really need to punch it up and like push it all the way up into the orange, in the orange category to look your best. So autumns, mustard is your exclusionary color. If you get compliments in mustard, you really need to take the color quiz again if you don't think it's an autumn, because you are probably an autumn.
Mm-hmm. And it makes your hair so rich and looks so healthy and good. Yes, mustard is an amazing color, and I love it.
Now, what's the exclusionary color for spring? Do you know?
Lime. Well, like a very greeny, bright, vivid yellow base.
Yeah, yellow base, leafy green, bright leafy green, like the leaves that just have first come out on a plant in the spring. That's the way I like to remember it. If we can show spring real quick, that bit, and it has to be really vivid and really, boom, there it is. So that's your exclusionary color. If you can wear that vivid, bright green, you're probably a spring.
And making sure your hair looks good. And it has to be a yellow-based green because winters can wear a blue-based green, but you need to make sure it's that yellow, almost limey.
And vivid and saturated, bright, because springs, you are our bright season. You can wear brights.
Yeah. And
now, what's the exclusionary color for summers?
Summers. Let's grab you guys.
It's one of my favorite colors that I wear almost all the time. Gray. We can rock gray like no. Stop it. Stop it. Gray is so beautiful, and I love it, and I love to pick it, and I love to wear it. And Sarah, like,
I think because it's my opposite season, so I'm warm and I'm deep, but summers are cool and they're light. So I believe that because it's one of my opposite colors, it doesn't.
Yeah,
good. I don't like it.
About mustard.
Mustard is a gorgeous color. We always have this fight. It's always gray and mustard because they're just opposite seasons for us. So we have a passion in saying, it doesn't look good on us. If we were to swap those two colors, it just does not look good.
Yeah. So she'll say, do you want mustard on your hot dog? And I'll go off. I'll be like, no.
All right. And then lastly, I'm going to grab that winter. There you go. Boom.
Yeah.
All those great emerald colors.
There's an exclusionary color for winter. And, it is fuchsia. Vivid, bright fuchsia. If you can wear a vivid, bright fuchsia and people say to you, oh, I love it. You look
gorgeous.
Yeah, or your fuchsia lipstick. You're winter. Because only winters can rock that shade and get that kind of result from people. That kind of comment from people.
And remember, we're looking for the comment that says, you look so good today. You look so healthy, gorgeous, things like that. But what the comment we're not looking for is, wow, that color.
It is bright.
Yeah, we're not looking for that color. That's when we know we're not harmonizing with our colors. So we want to be harmonizing our entire look together.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And Marguerite, you found a beautiful gray leather handbag. Give me more details about that, because gray leather accessories, they're very hard to find. And if they're beautiful and high quality and rich, then I'm all about it. So let me know where you found it. And
once again, Marguerite is a summer, and she's talking about how beautiful this leather gray handbag is. And I would never, ever think I could have those words come out of my mouth.
You know what, girl? I got you this time, because in your leopard pattern, that's a gray.
Well, if you look up close, it's actually like a brown. It has a lot of yellow in it.
It's pulling the monitor.
Yeah, I think it's pulling because of my actual chair is gray, but I think it's pulling that it's darker than it normally is. But
my lighting makes me look like I'm in green, and I'm not. I mean, this environment is green.
Oh yeah, of course, monitors turn what we're wearing. So this is actually, it's a lot warmer than it looks on screen right now. Like this kind of seems like a dusty tan, but it's actually a little bit more vivid.
So we've got a comment from one of our favorite autumns and favorite winters. Randy and Mary Beth just say, hey, should we put autumn up and show autumn against the winter? So
Absolutely.
Their best colors.
There we go. So down towards the bottom, you have your winter and your autumns.
And so these are a married couple, a winter and an autumn that we know.
All right. And since we were showing off the autumn palette, I'm going to make the winter palette for Randy for you. And then I love gray bags or shoes. Can't ever find them. Charcoal grays. Yeah.
For winter. Exactly.
Yeah. So we're generalizing gray. Of course, there's depths to gray. So if it's a deeper gray, yes, winters look stunning in it. But if it's like a lighter, just like a lighter kind of, when you think of like a hood.
Dove gray. Oh, gorgeous dove gray. So lovely. So lovely. But since we have winter up and we have a winter man, listening to our video today, I thought we could speak a little bit about men's clothes. We have a coloring beautiful book called Color for Men, and that's always worth a read. But what you see here, there are a lot of males who are winters, but I think there are a lot of men who would be afraid of this palette. But the best place to try it out and see how you like it are with sports shirts, t-shirts, knitted collared shirts, because they will really make you look terrific.
That's so true. Now, Cher is saying earlier, we talked about if your viewpoint has changed on what season you are. And Cher is now saying that she thinks that she is a winter after viewing this. So if you need any help, email us. We'll be happy to help you out and let you know for sure.
People take pictures of themselves in natural sunlight and send them to us. And oftentimes we can tell you a lot about your season just from those pictures. And sometimes they're nuances. I mean, you may not see the red or gold highlights in your hair, and you have it. And you may be a former autumn, like I was a former autumn, and now I'm gray. I had the same color hair you see right there.
And now you can't stand mustard. How could you? And it's funny. We change over time.
I don't know. I don't think that I ever was a big passionate fan of mustard, even when I had hair your color.
What about rust?
I love rust. I love rust.
There's colors that you just love, and then you fall out of love if you're somebody who does change seasons when they start to go gray, or your seasons change. If you dye your hair and you go cool and you used to be warm, your love of certain colors will change. Now, I did see a question from Linda, and she just mentioned, you can, of course, send his picture in, but she was talking about her husband wearing autumn colors, but he's a winter. And I've learned with my husband that I just let him do what he wants. He'll always ask, like, if we're at the store together, he'll say, hey, does this color look good on me? And I'll say, maybe go to this color. But if he's shopping alone, my husband loves black. He loves gray. He loves blue. I'm trying to think. If you pull out his shirt drawer, it's like 4 colors at most. Yeah, a dark green.
But like Linda's husband, he has that rich, warm, beautiful skin tone. And it does make it a little bit more difficult when you've got a rich color skin. You're trying to be in the right season.
Yeah. And Holly just mentioned another really good thing. She says she loves rust and glad there's been more of it in the store. And that's so true. There really has been a lot more. I'm starting to see kind of like a wave of warmer colors come out and kind of just taking over a little bit more as you stick out your tongue. But also greens, the autumn greens that have a bit more yellow in them instead of the pine greens. I've noticed that coming out a whole lot more. It's very trendy. So it's good for us autumns because we finally have some options.
You know what was crazy is that this past winter, the trendy colors that you would normally see in winter, like the browns and the neutrals and the things that were more subdued and maybe more appropriate for autumns, they were the fuchsias. There were winter coats, beautiful winter coats that were fuchsia and that green, and so they're getting it. They're starting to make the offering broader.
Oh, and Linda says that her husband loves orange. Let me tell you, my husband is a Mets fan. So if it's not like black, gray, or like a dark blue, it's the Mets colors, which do nothing for him. It's like the bright orange. The blue doesn't look, it looks good on him, but the orange doesn't help. I mean, it's just like, I let him go. Enjoy the Mets.
So Beth is asking, what season is your husband?
So he has a very dark, like almost jet black hair, and he's growing all this facial hair that's very dark as well, and he has darker brows. So his winter is definitely taking over. But I will say, when he was in the military, he used to have the very short, shaved in the back, almost no hair showing at all, no facial hair, and his skin tone leaned a little bit more warm. So I always kind of had him as a autumn-ish season, but I knew he had the natural darker hair. So I kind of kept him in the colors that can marry the two, winter and autumn. But now that he's, he's got his hair is growing out more, his facial hair is out more because he's out of the military. He's definitely a winter.
Linda's husband has facial hair. So again, the reason that Colory Beautiful says just look at your hair, because there are some tiebreakers like the color of your eyes, the color of your skin, and all of those are part and parcel of what you are. But let's face it, the largest chunk of real estate when somebody is looking at you in terms of color is your hair. It's the first thing they describe. If you're running away from the scene of a crime, somebody says, "Oh, well, that person had blonde hair." And so look at that first. But with men, when you guys start adding facial hair, it's your hair color, because this is all of it.
Yeah, and my husband's got a mustache. He's got the whole goatee going on right now. It's very dark, looks black. It might be like very dark brown, but he's definitely a winter out there. And when you were talking about running away from the scene of the crime, I was thinking, I wonder what I would do if I would be like, they had a yellow undertone, or what would I describe somebody? Because I do know, all of us, we know a little bit more about color than
I bet everybody who watches this video, everybody who's here with us week in and week out, I bet all of you would be like, well, there was a little red or gold highlight. I caught him in the net. But, I think that they were spring.
They were wearing, a chartreuse green, and that's exactly how I think I would describe somebody.
And the one guy, I saw a bank robbery once, off topic, but I saw a bank robbery, and they jumped in a car, and we jumped in behind them because my girlfriend and I figured we would catch these dudes because there were no police around. We were going to follow them and see where they went, and we did describe them by season. And I remember saying that one was a brunette, and he was definitely, and in my mind, I was going, yeah, he was a winner. He was brunette, lighter skin, kind of like that happens. Our description that caught them.
And the only reason that I know this story is because I always hear this, and you always say that you had to take the sketch and do the sketch yourself from the artist.
Yeah. Yeah, they sent a police sketch artist over, and I was trying to explain to him that this perpetrator, the perp, had big loopy curls, and he was drawing like little tight, almost like afro curls. I was like, no, big loopy curls. And so I literally grabbed his sketch pad out of his hand, erased the hair, and put in the right hair. He was not pretty, but the drawing was a good one.
Yeah, that's how I remember that story. That's what happens when you try to get an artist to do a sketch.
Yeah, it's terrible. The loop size was totally wrong. He looked like John F. Kennedy Jr. Very handsome bank robber.
Well, good for him, I guess. I don't. All right. Linda says you're such an interesting person.
I'm like, nutcase. Talk to Sarah. She will tell you.
Well, I have all the stories too, so that's the only reason I think.
Yeah, well, you guys would have yanked the sketch pad out of this guy's hand too, because he was not getting the job done.
All right, let's see. So I do have a comment from Mary, who's a spring. So I do want to emphasize. Let's see. She says she has copper blonde hair and turquoise eyes. Yes, you are definitely a spring. Peach. Peach coral tones and turquoise aqua tones are her most compliments. Yeah, yes. They do.
Her palette.
And she says they do really good and make her eyes, bring her eyes out, and her skin. So yes, that's awesome. And Mary, springs are we don't get to see a lot of springs out there. We don't, color analyzing. There's just not a ton of springs out there that we personally get to color analyze and check out. All right, let's see. And did you know Linda's husband is an artist too?
I'm a fan. I'm actually a fan. I've seen his work, and it's stellar. It's really beautiful.
That's cool. That's very cool. So he probably knows a little bit about color.
Yes, you should ask him if he were describing someone running from the scene of a crime and the sketch artist was getting it totally wrong, would he step in? He's normal.
All right, so now that we've gone completely off topic and we've gone through each of the seasons, if you guys have questions, let us know. Also, if you do want us to color analyze, send a picture in natural lighting. So run out, well, you don't have to go outside, stand by a window, send us over some images. We really want to see your hair color, which is really important, and your eye color. Just do a selfie. Send it over to our Facebook page. We're definitely backed up on our emails right now. But if email is the only way that you want to get in touch with us, that's perfectly fine. info@colormebeautiful.com. It just takes us a little bit longer because it has to go through a couple of filters before it reaches us. That's the only reason we say that. But it's perfectly fine as well if you don't mind waiting. And I guess we've been talking for an hour, so our time is already up.
And I really wanted to put up some other palettes so that when people leave us, they leave with kind of their eyes on their color palettes. And
okay, so let me grab, I don't have all of them together, so I either have to get rid of us or put up all 4 palettes.
We can say goodbye.
Okay, so let's grab a few more palettes. So we got winter, let's grab the autumn, and now I'm going to switch over to the lighter seasons. So we have summer and we have spring. And there we have it, all 4 seasons. If you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments below. And don't forget, we'll see you on Monday for It's a Beautiful Monday. And we hope you have a fabulous weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.